Leaving the mitzvah hut. So apparently these get steeper and we get ladders here after a while, according to some of the locals. So I no more than got up that one I just showed you, and we have ladders. So the weather forecast this morning said clear on Mount Washington with like 70-mile views this morning. Let's see if it holds out. We got storms rolling in tonight, tomorrow, the next day. So we're gonna get as far as we can today, get off the trail tomorrow and the next day. They're calling for major rains. So we're gonna play it safe, especially when we're climbing this type of stuff. We don't want to slip and fall off this. It's nice and cool this morning. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. I'm going straight up this mountain, so I'm good and warm. But got a nice cool breeze blowing up high here. I think it's supposed to be up to 15 mile an hour this morning. This afternoon get up to 30, 35 up in the high elevations. Oh boy. Had a nice breakfast this morning, so climbing right away it's a little harder. They had a count of 25 through hikers in and around the mitzvah between the campsite and the shelter last night. 25 northbounders. That is the most we've been around. Everybody kind of converged there last night that we'd been seeing for the last 4 or 5 days. Some people had waited for better weather to cross over, and some people like us had just hit it kind of perfect. So everybody's piled up, everybody's moving through in a big group. Definitely around the bubble. Having lots of fun. Getting to know everybody again. New people. Climbing, I can't talk in full sentences. It takes too much oxygen. There's Mount Washington. About 5.5 miles away yet. Should be there around noonish. I like to tell stories about some things that are happening out here that I don't get on camera. So, dessert was served last night, and it's family style. So, we each had a cookie bar. There's a cookie bar left on the platter last night. And you can see the through hikers, they lock eyes. And stare at the cookie, lock eyes. And before anybody said anything, one of the crew members came along and snatched that tin and the cookie up and took it back to the kitchen. The look of devastation on everybody's eyes. Oh boy. Somebody should have grabbed that cookie bar. So there's a certain odor associated with the through hiker by this point in time. And on a perfectly clear day, with no wind, if you're standing anywhere within a 10-foot radius of a through hiker, you would know what I'm saying. It's not a pleasant odor. Well, anyway, heard a story last night from a couple hikers ahead of us that went to the ACE, AYCE, all you can eat, Asian buffet. at lunchtime. Well, this certain odor that was being produced, the staff at the Asian buffet quick changed the menu from lunch to dinner buffet so they could charge more, which makes sense. As most of you know, by this point, we've all gotten our hiker hunger. And $18 at a buffet, we are still going to crush that. We're going to win at the buffet. As you say, when you eat more than what you pay for, that's a win. So that story is being passed back along the trail, and it's just funny, the stuff you hear out here. Ooh, look at this. Beautiful. That last view was of Mount Pierce. We'll be crossing by or going over a lot of mountains today. So the huts are ran by the AMC, the Appalachian Mountain Club, and I'll probably do a horrible job of explaining this, but they have crew that help take care of the guests at each of the huts, and for a thru hiker they're pretty expensive, but you're able to stay there if you want. You have to book them usually ahead of time if you want to try to get into one. Some of them you can just walk up to and get in that are less busy, but some of them are real busy. There's about 32 out of 60 stayed at the one last night, so there was still extra room. But the crew at the Mitzvah hut really took care of us. We got food. Supper last night was pulled pork, a rice soup, bread, mashed potatoes, vegetables, and dessert, which was a chocolate chip cookie bar. It was just amazing. And then you get breakfast in the morning. This morning was oatmeal, eggs, sausage, and pumpkin chocolate chip bread piece. So pretty amazing. You leave full, even as a thru hiker. So then you got bunk rooms, lots of bunk rooms in this mitzvah hut, and restrooms inside. So great place to stay if you can. So the first big one here that we'll be going beside is Eisenhower, and the second one before Washington there is Monroe, and then you got Washington up top. And then after that we'll go down by Adams, that's back there around the corner. So this trail here takes you up to the top of Eisenhower, but we don't go to the top, we go around it. Well, maybe I'm glad I'm not climbing Eisenhower. That looks like the trail there. I left some skin from my knee on that rock right there coming around. Got a bit of a climb left ahead of me. Still pretty cool. Clouds just hitting Mount Washington. We may not have a view from up there. It's like continuous clouds going over Mount Washington. We're coming up here to Cloud of the Hut, or Lake of the Clouds Hut. Swing in there for a couple minutes and start our ascent up Mount Washington. 1.4 miles up there. Whew. Where we were the other days, Franconia Ridge, Mount Moosilauke. It's all behind those clouds. So the clouds are just moving in. Just made it here in time to see down this side. But you can see the clouds rolling by the towers every once in a while. So hopefully it's just a short cloud burst and it'll open back up again. Looks like the cog just got here. Mount Washington. So I think that big one there is probably Moosilauke. And we climbed up there, which is Franconia Ridge. Came around Garfield, back up that range. Then we worked our way over here and up the Presidentials. And we're now on top of Mount Washington. So this is past Washington. This is where we'll be going.
Same when they did it Lonesome Lake. That crew looked a lot happier than the one that went.
We've been at this for hours. Not really a trail, just these cairns to show us the way. There's the Madison hut. From there, I think we have 3 more miles to get down to Osgood campsite for the night. Been doing pretty good, but we are wore out. And just because we're gonna go straight up this thing, so that's what we do. We are climbers. Feeling raindrops. The hurricane is arriving. Once we get to camp, we'll only have like 4-mile walk to the road. Hopefully we have time. Alright, the rain's setting in. We've got a hard down. It's the top of Mount Madison. I can't even keep my hat on right now. It's blowing hard. So we are going to get down to the shelter, or to where our tent site's going to be. And then I think like down there is probably where we're going to get off trail in the morning. The rocks have gotten slick quick, and we've got a long ways down to tree line, and it looks like steep. Made it down the tree line. It was getting a little windy up there. Real windy. So it's nice to be in the trees. Supposed to have a real steep descent here for another 1.5 miles. And we should get to camp. It's supposed to start raining tonight. We're going to try to walk out in the morning. We've had over 1 mile of steep descent that we wouldn't want to do tomorrow. I didn't do a very good job of getting my tent set up in the rain. It got a little wet.